Which game are we talking about now?
Sundered Eldritch edition.
Okay. Yeah, right. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that.
Is it for the video or just...
Yeah, I think we've started. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So we have another game.
Hi!
And I don't know if you remember, if you stayed with us or not, doesn't matter. But we had a game called Jotun.
We did.
And that was a Viking game. It was the first game of that studio, and this is the second game.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely something else, but I can
quite
still
different.
see this stylization of the game.
Mm-hmm. The atmosphere is similar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this game, this time, it's two-dimensional platformer,
Mm-hmm.
but it's open world platformer. That's you don't see that everywhere.
An interesting definition. Yeah, open world platformer.
Because, I mean, you have rooms, some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger,
Mm-hmm.
but they are somehow connected,
Mm-hmm.
and you can open shortcuts. So you always start at one
Mm-hmm.
point,
Mm-hmm.
first minute, 10 hours, 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
But you get fast to the point where you haven't been because of all the shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
And you are kind of free to explore many things because some of them are locked for later, of course, but you have more choices. And you can choose bosses
Mm-hmm.
you will kill first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, I think, from the Jotun, the Viking game, this is like big improvement.
They went to a very different genre, in fact. I would have expected them to continue a top-down kind of exploration game, but they didn't do that.
I'm actually glad for that because, but I still felt like the animation, it's, for me, it's a little bit weird. Like there's a good variation of enemies, but the animation, it's a bit weird. It's like if you watch animation from 80s or something.
Yeah, the environments I found to be pretty good. They're atmospheric, they're interesting, but the animation of the enemies seems half finished.
Yes.
They're usually just blobs. You can't tell them apart. They don't have personality.
It's kind of the stylization of the studio, it seems. It's not bad, you can get used to it.
But it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case in Jotun. I would say even smaller individual enemies had character, and the bosses definitely had a lot of character, which is not the case here. But I wanted to go back actually and kind of challenge the idea that it's a platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually if you hear platformer, it means that the main goal of the game is to get from one platform to another, and it requires some level of skill to get across the platforms.
Yes.
That's not the case here. It's never difficult to get... There are platforms, but it's never difficult to get from one platform to another. That's not the challenge of the game. So, yes, there are lots of platforms, but I don't think that platformer gives the right impression, because I expected another platformer like Celeste or The End is Nigh or blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And it doesn't have that same element. You're not falling off platforms.
Yeah, we're just saying it's platformers so you get the idea what the game is like, because it's two-dimensional from the side, but there's a lot of variation in the game, and there's even an RPG element in a more detailed way. So there's a really big tree.
It's the biggest skill tree I think I've ever seen.
Okay.
It's
quite big.
Outside of Skyrim.
Not for me, but yeah.
It's really big.
It's really big, and the way how you do it, it's you gather points from the containers, enemies, because there's a lot of things you can distract and get like kind of money from it.
A lot, yeah.
And from the money you can use to the the skill tree and buy the actually improvements. So that's a really good one.
And what's interesting is you can only do that when you die.
That's not true.
No?
No.
In most cases. Every time you die, you go back to the skill tree.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's kind of true, but not true. Because you can get back anytime, but you don't want to because you're too far away from the beginning. So the easiest way is just die and get back. But you can. But I did. Yeah. You can actually get somewhere and get back, and use the skill tree.
Okay, fair. But usually it's when you're exploring, and at one
That's
point
how
you die,
will usually do it.
and you go back to the start of the map,
Yeah.
and you use your skill points, which means that there's actually no penalty for dying.
Yeah, and there's actually some fun in dying because you want to be upgraded. So how do we die in this game?
Which is a very bold choice because usually removing the penalties from death would mean that there's no tension or suspense. But in fact, I just found it to make it more relaxing and more like an exploration game, saying, well, if I die, then I can go back and it will be easier the next time.
But did you find the game easy? I wonder.
Yes. Until the bosses.
I did not.
The bosses start to get a bit challenging, but in general, it's not difficult. But I don't think it's supposed to be difficult.
For me, it was difficult because there are, maybe you didn't get there, but there are some rooms that will get locked, and you have to kill all the enemies in there before it gets open. This one is challenging.
This is more challenging.
And so the enemies move from one room to another. That's quite unusual because on the platformers usually you just moves and the enemies won. But in this game, actually, enemies are kind of more persistent to kill you. They can follow you, they're after you. And I don't know if you noticed, but each time you go anywhere, the enemies are randomly generated. So it's never the same.
Right.
That's really a nice feature too. Yeah. So it's a really good gameplay.
I would say it's worth trying. I don't know if everyone will love it.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I see a really big progression from the first game to another one, and I think they should really keep on going that way. And this is like at least 25% better than the first one. So I really support the creators. But as for the game, it's really interesting. I wanted to explore more. Yeah. So I think if the game does that, I think it's a sign it's a good game.
I think that's it for me. This is the main reason that I'm not a fan of platformers, because there's very little freedom of exploration.
Yeah. This is an exploration.
It's also, I'm usually not a huge fan of hack and slash because it's just about fighting, and there's a lot of that in this game. Yeah. So what makes me like this game is the exploration. That you want to keep finding new rooms and new secrets and try to understand what's happening.
The exploration and because of the system game, what is going to happen that you're gonna go through some rooms many times. But because the gameplay is changing by the randomly generated enemies, it's still kind of fun. And for getting more points to use it on skill tree. Yeah, this is a fun game.
So I think that you should play it.
I think you should consider if you like platformers, if you like the gameplay behind us, if you think it looks nice and you would like it, you should try it.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, it's more than it looks.
I didn't expect to like it, honestly. It has more than a standard platformer. Yeah. So let us know what you think. Any opinions at all, whether you agree with us or disagree with us, or tell us about something completely different. How is your day going? Just leave a comment. We're happy to talk about anything.
And there will be one thing I would mention is that we do reviews about the free games in time, which means there's gonna be a lot more games from free Epic Game.
In 2020, they're continuing the free game barrage. Yep.
So one thing how to know there's a new game is to subscribe to us, because we're gonna keep on working on them and we're gonna deliver you the reviews on the date they will be released. So
but make sure that you click the bell when you subscribe, because then you'll get a notification that there's a new video that tells you there's a new game you can claim for free from Epic Games, and then we'll tell you if it's worth your time. That's how it works. Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you next time.